One of my favorite episodes was Donnell and Bobby.
It's so good.
What about
That's
you
my
guys?
favorite.
What was your favorite episode?
Donnell and Bobby.
Donnell and Bobby.
It had exactly when I point to an episode that represents this show, I think it's that one. It had the emotional part and then just the comedy in it was.
Yeah.
Well, that was I think unfortunately too late, but that was kind of the lesson of how the show should go. It was not too many people. There was a surprise where they had some unfinished business personally, some beef, but it wasn't so bad that it was going to be uncomfortable. And then they were both just so willing to be honest, and their comfortability with you was so apparent, and it was so silly and so heart-wrenching at times.
And I think there was an arc of Donnell not wanting to participate and then ultimately participating, which made me feel like a goal was accomplished. Like there was a closure at the end. And the other thing that was amazing about that episode is the creator of the show showed up.
Oh, was he there that day?
Yeah, he was there that day.
He came in from Canada. He came from the airport.
And he came from the
right.
airport and he showed up and you were like, I want to introduce you to, Franz or whatever. I don't know, forget his name.
I can't remember his
It
name.
wasn't
And he was a Canadian guy, he's a French accent. And he goes, so I would love to see a script. If we could see a script of what you're shooting today. And I was like, we're not really doing it like that. He was like, what? And I said, well, it's not really, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You'll see. And then the first thing he saw was me getting a coffee enema and then getting an enema and shitting all over Bobby. And he got done and he was crying, laughing. And he goes, what is this? This is not my show. This is, how would you do this? I wouldn't even know how to do this. Did you have these lines lined up? And I said, no. And he's like, what is this? This is amazing. I'm curious, what is your approach? And I go, I don't really know, man. I was like, we just knew that coffee enemas were popular.
Well, we came in with all these ideas and outlines and scripts and all this stuff, and had to learn not fast enough, but very fast what worked. Like, with Bobby and Donnell, we found that they both lost their father, and they both had these different experiences with their father, and that knowing that then shaped the whole episode and what we were.
And we kind of found that on the fly.
Yeah, we did.
We did scream therapy.
Yeah,
and they both opened up about losing their father. Great cancelable moment was in scream therapy where I was like, why don't we channel each other's channel fathers? And Donnell's like, Bobby, I'll be your father. And he's like, okay, Donnell. And then Donnell just starts going, oh, Bobby's son, you let me down, Bobby's son. And I'm like, hey, Donnell, you can't really talk like that.
no, he actually was talking in Korean.
And then he started talking in Korean to him, saying, you let me down, you're nothing. And then Bobby goes, oh, why don't I just be your father? I'm sorry, I went to prison down there. And I go, Bobby, you can't do that. And I'm laughing so hard at these two doing what is now very inappropriate accents of each other's race to each other. And we were crying, fucking laughing.
Best.
And then
It was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Really brilliant.
But the thing about it was totally inappropriate, but they knew each other well enough. That was sort of an icebreaker for that larger conversation. And you're right. I think the cool thing was Donnell hated every second of it for the first half of the day. And then really when we ended and you guys were all in the hot tub wearing those ridiculous hats was I learned from both of you and even through that day. And that was really nice when that kind of authentic thing happened.
Oh, my favorite was when we were all in the sauna.
In the sauna.
We were all in the sauna
Packed
together.
in like sardines.
And we were going and doing round robin where you get hit with the Bert's branch, jump in the back, and then into the sauna. And Bobby went first, I went second, and then Donnell's like, fuck it. And Donnell did it. When Donnell did it, we did it.
That was a turning point.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of that episode is when we got the psychic who did psychic readings to Bobby and Donnell to channel their fathers. Do you remember that? And she goes, okay, I'm guessing Bobby, your father was strict. And he was like, yeah. She's like, he held you to a high standard. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, Donnell, I'm reading that your father wasn't around much. And Donnell goes, bitch, you're just racist. He goes, you just said Bobby's dad's Asian and my dad's black. And she goes, was your dad around? He goes, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was in prison, okay? She's like, and you were raised by a single mother? And he's like, oh, motherfucker, you're doing statistics now. It was, and we were crying fucking laughing. It was that was the funnest, like easy lifting, funnest episode. Probably one of the more emotional episodes was Nikki and Caitlin.
Yeah.
Because Caitlin was a hero to my dad. And I got to have that cool fucking moment of my dad fucking breaking down. And then I fucking cried. Apparently I just cry these days. But it was so fucking cool. And Caitlin was game.
I was going to say,
Everything.
she reminded me of Anthony Anderson in the sense that she showed up. She was ready to work. She had like,
She did.
I was worried about her going into it. Like, is she going to
she was
up
pretty
late? How much
fearless
is it going to
and
push the day? She was great. She was great to work
and
with.
ready to talk about anything.
I remember them giving me a list of jokes. Do you remember that? They're like, they're going to shoot arrows at you. Here's a list of jokes. And I was like, have these been greenlit by Netflix? And they're like, yeah. Everyone's looked at them. And I was like, I'm supposed to say this to Caitlyn Jenner? And they're like, yeah.
What were those? I don't even remember.
Oh, the first one was, hey, Caitlyn, did you name your dick before you chopped it off? And Caitlyn was
Oh
like,
my God.
okay. And
I
then,
don't remember this at all. That's horrifying.
Did John Oliver go rogue?
and they were like the most aggressive transitioning jokes. And Caitlyn was cool, didn't get upset, rolled with it, laughed, and was like, and didn't have a problem. It was like, I get it, it's a comedy show. They all got edited out, but it was like the list of jokes that I ran by her as they were shooting arrows were fairly a roast joke. They were roast jokes.
During the arrow bit, yeah. They were roast jokes. Yeah. I vaguely remember this. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really fascinating episode to shoot.
The emotional piece when she asks you, when did you know you were a boy? That whole conversation took it to another level. Like that, those were the walls we were breaking. I feel like they
Don't say walls we were breaking.
Yeah, no, but seriously, to take it above, it's slapstick comedy, fun things happening, but having that emotional appeal was what really, I think, made this show so popular. People were like, oh, there's a lot of heart here.
Yeah.
It wasn't just.
What did you think, Liam? What was like a sleeper moment for you in the show where you were like what were your top 5 favorite moments in the show?
Top 5 favorite moments?
3, top 2, top 1.
Well, I loved the Donnell and Bobby the whole episode. I loved the reluctant participant.
Yeah.
Donnell was just a reluctant participant, like, no, okay. The whole episode.
Bobby giving me an enema, Donnell reading the directions. And when that coffee enema wasn't inserted right, when they fucked up the coffee enema and it went all over me, and we thought there was shit all over the place because it was coffee. And
Do you remember what we had to dress the crew in for that scene?
Everyone was in hazmat suits.
Oh my God.
I wish we'd shot that.
They're
Everyone was in a
COVID suits.
hazmat suit.
Do you remember the medical sign-offs leading up to that? Like do you remember all that back and forth with like you having to sign off that if something were to happen?
If I'm to die, and I was like, wait, hold on.
From a coffee enema?
Well, yeah. And they're like, and the guy, I remember the doctor they brought a doctor, he took my blood pressure. Took my blood pressure. He's like, your blood pressure is up. I was like, that's not the least of our worries right now. I remember fucking Bobby Lee's putting coffee up my ass. And he was like, no, that's not going to happen. And I was like, what? And he's like, I can't let you do that. And he's like, I can do it to you. And I was like, what? And he's like, I'll do it to you back here. You walk out with the coffee in your asshole. And I was like, what? No, that's definitely not happening.
That was his pitch.
And he goes, I can give you an enema right now, and then you can hold it in you. And I was like, I'm not going to hold water in my ass. I go, and he goes, here's the deal. Just don't have him load you up. And I went, what? And he goes, don't have him fill you up all the way. Like that's where we're going to get in trouble. And so I was like, so Bobby, don't go too hard. And Bobby's like, sure. And he puts the enema in my ass and empties it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's coming out. And I shit the enema water immediately right out. And then they were like, cut, next one. We're up. And the fucking creator of the episode is just standing there going, so how did you guys come up with this?
Crazy.